Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining Create with Dee. I'm Dee Slater, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Welcome to my channel. Today, we are going to make some bags and a pouch inspired by TikTok and Reels. And we're going to be using pretty much a suite of products from Stampin' Up! From their spring mini catalog. It is the Made with Love Suite collection, but really, whether you're making these for Valentine's or changing up the theme of the paper and everything, I think you're going to enjoy new ways of maybe doing this. So again, it was a TikTok and Reels inspired on this. All right. So we are going to be using, like I said, it's featuring the Made with Love suite of products, and especially using these gusseted bags. So these are heart gusseted treat bags, and these bags run are you get 16 in a pouch, and they're like basically a 10. They're calling it, well, these are it's a 4x6. By the time it's all rolled down, it ends up being a 4x6 treat bag. But as you can see, that these might be something that you have that are the traditional craft look. But if you did get this suite from Stampin' Up, here's some ideas of how to use this. Again, these are gusseted treat bags that when closed up are 4x6, and that's what we're using today. All right, so that's that. And it also is a great, I think they're great projects to use with your bags and your scraps. And so I've made all of my Valentines that I'm going to make. And so I'm taking my scraps of that designer paper. This designer paper is Made with Love. So it's from the Made with Love suite. I'm using the Made with Love designer series paper. But really, for the most part, if you have two-sided pattern paper, you can do this. All right, let me turn the camera around and let's get started. Oh, before we do, I have a weirdo hair sticking up. Before we do, like always, if you want to say hi in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. I live in Northeast Indiana, close to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Let me know where you're watching and from. Also, if there's anything in this video that you like, I would really appreciate a comment, a thumbs up. All of that helps my algorithm so that new people can find me. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel and invite you to do so. All right, let me turn the camera around and we will get going. Okay. So again, we're using the gusseted treat bags that would be like when all closed up, they're literally 4x6, and I'm doing 4 different looks. So, and I've actually got it where I've elongated it just a little bit from the, the 4x6, and we'll talk about all of these different ways. But, here's like bag number 1, where we're adding some designer paper. Again, it's kind of using up some scrap designer paper too. Here's one that we're going to make using a die cut window sheet out of. And then this one, it's cutting it down to size, kind of using it a little differently. And we're going to get a twofer out of that. And then because like YouTube made me try it, we're also going to make this cute little pouch. Okay, we'll do this one at the end. So sit back and relax and see a couple of different ways of using this. All right, so to start with, let me grab my treat bags. We do get 16 of these in the pack from Stampin' Up, which is nice. It's a like just a nice party size. And also if you're making like a class or a bunch of coworkers, or doing a Valentine themed party, or even like maybe a bridal shower or an anniversary party where you want the hearts, perfect on that. All right, so the first one that we're going to do, get this out here. Again, these are paper from the Made with Love, and I wanted a taller treat bag. You can keep these treat bags They do have like a front side. So where you can see like the seam down the back. So that's the back side of it. And then there's 2 score lines that this treat bag comes with. So, you know, you can do that and then use that to kind of scroll it down for however much that you want. For this bag, I just measured it where when you fold it down 1, 2, that's what's left here. So you have all of this space that you can use to do some creating with. Fold the tabs back, and that's what holds this in place. I was trying to put them forward and then they were kept unwinding. So fold the tabs back and you'll be all set. Okay. So this first one, oh, well, let me just share. I did just for the sake of the video, as well as I think sometimes when we mass produce, they all look the same. So I pretty much have used the same embellishment tag for all of them. So why don't we go ahead and do that, and so that you can see that first, and then I'll backtrack and I'll do this. So all of this that I'm using, the shapes and the stamp set are from that suite. It's Endless Love. And kind of wanted to point out, like I used, oops, I got that heart over there. Oh no, here it is. So I've got, for this collection here, I'm using this heart, this tag, and then this guy right here to make this. And what's kind of nice on this, if you haven't seen it yet, the negative image on this, when you get done, you've got these little like cello bag, what do I say, like the little holders, like a bread holder. So you can always like just put that onto a cello bag, and that would be super cute. But anyways, I used Real Red, Flirty Flamingo, and this is Basic White. So again, this is the tag that I did for all of them. Let's go ahead and just get the one made so you can see how I did it, and then we'll talk about the bags. So I'm using Real Red ink on this little tag here. Hugs and Kisses. I tried to keep the tag from it, like, I'll just say like fairly easy and uncomplicated, because if you're making a lot of these, you don't want to, you know, at least me, I want to keep it so that I can really mass produce them. So I just kind of kept it easy. As you can see, I've got my silicone mat, got a sponge. That's how I'm going to put this little intricate die on here. Super easy. This goes together super fast. Got some linen thread to put the tags all together. Again, this is, I'm looking. I'm looking here. Trying to keep it, what do I want to say, when I'm doing all of these, like if I can mass produce, awesome. And all 3 of these shapes, you can double up on them. You can go ahead and cut 2 at a time. So again, I tried to design it so if you were wanting to mass produce this, it would be easy. Okay. And that's it. And then I kind of wait, and then I anchor that with a little glue dot so I know. But that's the stamping on all of them. Okay, just wanted to show you that real quickly. All right, back to the bag. So what I did is I have some scrap designer paper from, like, that was left over from the Endless Love, or Made with Love designer paper. And this is cut at 3.5 by 7. I know you're thinking, Dee, you said that the bags were 6. That's if you roll them down. But really, like I said, if you just roll it down twice, this section right here is 7. Or yeah, 7.5. So and the width of them's 4. So I took it down 1/2 inch, both from the width and the length. So that's where I got the 3.5 by 7. And then we can just put that right in the center. It's kind of nice. You can line up the hearts on either side and down at the bottom, and it kind of creates that border that I'm looking for. So that kind of helps make sure that it's mostly straight. And then from that same designer series paper, I cut, this is a 3/4 by 3.5, and I'm going to decorate this top of it right up here too. Okay, so again, we're just, oops, I don't want that side. I want to use the opposite side. Okay. Again, these are just ideas on how you can use up some designer paper. Okay, and then what I did for like the ribbon accent here, I thought that was cute. I'm opening it up, and the ribbon's going to go on the outside of the second panel here. Once here's the score lines. So I'm going to be using quite a bit of tear and tape for this class. And I'm going to anchor that down on the inside. And then some of you that took some of my classes this winter, this is the red ribbon, that's shiny ribbon that was in the holiday catalog. It still may be available online, but that's the shiny red, real red. And I don't know, what does that look like? Maybe 18, 24 inches. And let's go ahead and we'll peel that up. But this is how I put on the ribbon. I'll kind of tell you why here in just a second. At least this is for me. Put the shiny side face up. I'm going to find the middle by just kind of folding it in half and kind of guesstimating it. That tear and tape will hold it down. And then when you put your goodies in it, it gussets it out a little bit. The bottom does stay, the bottom does not gusset, but the top does, to give you plenty of room. And so then when you roll it down 1, 2, and then tuck it back, you have it. This way you get a ribbon look without, with them just being able to unroll it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So this is one that the ribbon does not impede the opening of the gift bag here. So you can put a knot, put a bow, and then if you want, you can tie it up here, but I just went ahead and put it there. So again, a super quick way to dress it up. Again, here's what it looks like beforehand. But then if you just want to use up some of your scrap pieces from your designer paper, that's how you can do it. So that's bag number 1 on it. This one was not a TikTok-y. This one was just me wanting to decorate it. Okay. All right. So that's bag number 1. The second one is like kind of that whole TikTok made me try it. And on this one, let's see here. Get my... Again, we're embracing our scraps today and using 12 by 12. All right, so on this one, I'm actually going to get my trimmer and trim this down. And as you can see, I've got designer paper all the way around. Our pattern paper or designer paper is 12 inches. And I wanted to use a whole 12 inches. And this is what I had seen on, I think this one was from a reel on it. So again, I'm starting out with a 3.5 by 12 here. And then here are just some scraps that I had. I don't even know which one I'm doing. I think these are like between 1 inch and 1/2 inch. But let's just go ahead and we can build up our layer here. You can do it however that you want. I'm just kind of showing you how you can use up some of your scrap layers. So if you wanted to, you could put all 3 of those down. I think just for the video, I'm just doing one. I'm going to just show you that, however, I don't know, that's kind of a pretty side. Let's do that side. All right, so the main thing is to start with your 3.5 by 12. And then you can use whatever other scraps of your 12 inches that you have. Okay, go ahead and put that down. It's easier if you layer it first before we go on to the next step. I think that looks straight. Okay. Gosh, if I wanted to, you know, I could even do that. That's kind of cool. Let's do that. Again, scraps we can play with. This is, I think, a 1 inch, and then this is a 1/2 inch. These were just scraps that I had from, you know, cutting down other projects, but still at that 12 inches. Kind of looks like a little stripe on. Okay, you get the idea. Play around with that as much as you want. Okay, then what we're going to do is, I think it's just as easy to fold this in half. Okay, so we're going to take our 12 inch and fold it in half. And now we're going to, this is, again, this is, I think, the TikTok reel. We're going to wrap it around the bottom of our bag. I thought this was such a cute way of doing it. We are not going to measure where we cut either. It's going to be awesome when we cut down the bag. So this is the first thing that we want to do. Again, these bags are pointed at the end. They're not gusseted. So there's not a whole lot of, what I want to say, they don't expand a whole lot here at the bottom. But we do want to put this down flat, and we're going to make it so that, whoops, on this one you do want to get relatively close to the edges with your liquid glue. I would recommend liquid glue just to give you that wiggle room to kind of straighten it up on the sides. But if you like the, you know, the permanent tape, you know, that's awesome too. All right, so I've folded it first, and then we're just going to fold up the sides on the bottom. And again, I found that cutting it at 3.5, you can use the hearts on the side as a guide. And then just kind of make sure that they're even on both sides. So on my first attempt of this, I was trying to be real clever on cutting this down. And then because we lose a little bit of the length from the wrap, so this isn't a true 6 up here, I found that it was easier to trim afterwards, because we want, if you want it to be right on top of where our designer paper ends. So this will go through all of these layers on your trimmer. So you can just get, like, here's 6 inches. So if you wanted just a little bit of a border on the top, you can. But really, if you went down to about, I almost hate to say it, 1/16, you know, you lose about 1/16 of an inch. But otherwise, you can kind of just tap it back to about 6 and trim. So, but we're going to keep this section here. Okay, look how cute that is. You got just that little bit of a heart border, and you still have your gusseted. So what I did on this is, let me go grab my ruler. I'm going to use just a standard hole punch, or if you have a crocodile, you can use that too. And again, this is 4 inches, and I'm going to come in 1.5 inches from either side. So there's 1.5 inches, which is actually puts me real close to this. I don't want to punch through all of that. I'm going to make this one a little wider. I'm going to use 1 1/4. On my sample one, I did 1 1/2, but I'm going to be going through too many layers. So I'm going to come in 1 1/4 from either side. And then I'll get my just standard hole punch and come in and see where I marked it. You know, put whatever goodies that you want in it, and then feed your ribbon through. I'm using the same ribbon all throughout. using that real red, that shiny real red. And on this one, if you want, you can keep the ribbon on the spool for a little bit. Let's go ahead and we'll get our angle cut on that one. But I liked how they took their gusseted bag and then just use the designer paper and kind of cut it down to size. We're just going to use just play it by ear on how you want that. And then on the back side of it, I just like to make sure that my ribbon's, showing on that side. And then just tie it. You can tie a bow, you can tie a knot, whatever you like. I think on this one, on my sample, I tied a bow. Let's tie a knot on this one. So on this bag, let's make a bow. Because on this bag, you are making it a little interactive. The recipient would have to untie it to get to the goodies that you put in it. Okay. So there's the bow, and then let's see, where's our, and then like you can make your sentiment or your drop down tag, and you're all set with that. All right, so this is the TikTok, maybe try it. And then after we cut that down, I have this other little piece here. It's got the, what do I call that? The little twist tie, that's attached. And so I thought, well, heck, we can use that. So you could use tear and tape if you wanted, but I'm just like, so here's what the top half of that looks like. So if you wanted to, you could cut this down and use it on a card or some other piece, but I thought, let's just make another bag out of it. So probably would recommend tear and tape, but I'm not going to put anything real heavy in mine. But, just put some adhesive down at the bottom and then close her up. And, you can decorate that. So now you've got, let that dry for just a little bit with the liquid adhesive. But now you've got another little bag that you can use for it. So if you have some gusseted treat bags and you want to trim them down, feel free to, because you can always make a twofer out of them for whatever other project or little thing that you wanted to do. So on this one, I just used one of the other heart dies from the stamp set, or from the die set of that Endless Love. Use the little two of the hearts and XO, because we've got the paper XO, that was scrap. And then just a little circle punch to and from on the back. So, that's it. So that's how you can, kind of get a twofer out of that. But this one is the TikTok maybe try it. Okay, so there's that. Another idea that I got from a reel that came through was I had seen where somebody had used their die cuts to die cut a little image out. So yes, at the time of the video, it's Valentine's Day, but you could do a circle die. You could do any kind of die that you want to do, but I didn't want anything to fall out of this. And then of course, I'll show you what's in there, but then, you can use window sheets. So how I did that, let's put this out of the road. Need another. So you can use any shape of die that you have. It doesn't matter. I'm going to stick with my Valentine theme and our Endless Love dies and bundle that we're using. And this will die cut using Stampin' Up's Big Shot or their cut and emboss machine. And you can, place this wherever you like. I would just recommend that, however you'd like to, like on here, I did the 1-2 roll down. And so here's where it would crease. So you can just kind of drop it down wherever you want your window. We're going to cut through all of the layers, the windows front and back on this particular one that I chose to do. And just go ahead and position this. I've got some 3M repositioning tape here. For this little heart, if you count in 3 hearts from either side and then line it up. That's pretty much the center. So go ahead and anchor that down. When you put it through your cut and emboss machine, you do want to feed it through with the roll down side front. If you do this side here, on mine anyways, it was too thick, but it definitely went through okay if I fed the the twist tie end first. So I'm going to go over to my die cut machine and let me die cut that out. So again, I'm feeding that twist tie side down first, making sure my part's looking good. And getting this put through. It does make a loud pop, but it's okay. Let me show you what this looks like then. So I just ran that through. And, then we've got, if you want to, you can use these little cutout hearts for something else. The backside does have the seam line that goes through it, but I think that's okay. But there's some other embellishments that you can use somewhere else. All right, let me get this put away here. Okay, so to do the window sheets, what I've done ahead of time is I've cut out from window sheets approximately, 3x3s. So if you have scrap window sheets, if you want to use some of that up, as long as you have a little extra, this is a 2x2 heart. And so I just did a 3x3 window sheet over it. And as you can see ahead of time, I've put tear and tape all along the edges of it. One, so that I could see it on my work surface here for you. But you'll just want to put tear and tape all on the sides. And for window sheets, I definitely would recommend window sheets instead of liquid glue or even the other tape. I don't know. I just always think tear and tape and window sheets work well. Okay. And I'm just going to do one at a time, but let's go ahead and we're going to open this up. And then with tape side up, because it needs to adhere over here, to the underside of it. So tape side up and put that in. And you just got a window sheet there. Now we'll go ahead and we'll do the other side. So again, this happens to be a 3x3 window sheet. On my sample one, I had some 3.5 I had a 3-inch strip of the window sheet, the 12-inch window sheet. So I just cut them into 3.5 strips and put it in there. So again, I'd end up with scrap window sheets either way. And so I just saved myself a little cut and just kind of cut them down as it was on those scraps. But I would recommend the 3x3 just because by the time you add your tear and tape on here, which I think it's, like 1/4 of an inch, you'll give yourself plenty of wiggle room on that. No one's going to see the inside of it, so it doesn't matter if that's lined up square or not, just so long as the window's there. But then that's how you can do a little window sheet on it. Okay, there's that. And then I'll show you how much can fit into it. But I also thought what I would share with you if you wanted to. Let's see. So again, I've got these so that it rolls down twice on here. And this time for the ribbon, I'm going to put the tear and tape on the front side and the back side, because this way it's not on the top of it. Again, just kind of showing you some tips of where maybe to place your ribbon. So let me get that down. Okay, so I want the ribbon to be below that. So I'm going to put some tear and tape on the front side. Actually, you can just go ahead and kind of roll that down, I guess. And then same thing here, kind of see where that's at, and then just put a little bit on the back side. You can count down, let's see, let's just go about here. Okay. So I'm going to use my ribbon on the front and the back side this time. I always just give myself plenty of ribbon. You could, you know, really measure that off if you wanted to. Whoops, just poked all the way through. All right, let's take this up. The tear and tape on the ribbon just acts as an anchor so it doesn't slip slide around. Again, kind of fold it in half to get halfway mark. Take that down. I got this one end a little high, so I'm going to really get that down. Okay. Again, that's just going to help hold it in place. And we'll get that one. I'm just going to tie this in a knot. And that will hold it in place. Okay. So just wanted to show you like how I use the window here. So now when, you know, and there's our little tag that I use throughout. So what I have in here is, and it's pretty tight, but I didn't want that to move. So I have like a bag of popcorn, and actually you want to put things in before you tie your ribbon. So that lesson number one, put your things in before you tie your ribbon. But I just have some microwave popcorn, and then I got these little poppy things on Amazon. But, you know, I thought, well, they're the stress poppers, and then popcorn, kind of a non, it's a salty Valentine's treat versus, you know, necessarily a candy, like a other candy one. Yes, please. Let's just get this off of here right now. We'll want to make a bow on that there because I forgot that we had 3D stuff in there. All right, so just to kind of show you what you can all fit in here, like here's some popcorn. Get that in there. And then, like, of course, the whole thing about doing a window is so that you can show what you're putting in. And then, like, here's a little toy in this case. It's got a little smiley face on it, so I'm going to turn it. So cute. Okay, so put your goodies in first and then roll down. Okay, and then you get this. Yeah, because I totally screwed that one up. What do I have that's so tight on it? Oh, I know why it's tight. My window sheet, I didn't pay attention and I got it taped to the side. There we go. I was like, why is that not going in well? There we go. Yeah, watch your window sheets. Make sure you got it nice and straight in there. There we go. I was wondering what was catching on it. Again, you get the idea. Cute little, you know, whatever it is that you want to show on there. And then get our gussets back in. Now we're in good shape. And I always want to put them forward, but if you put them back, they're great. Okay, so on this one, definitely tie a bow. Okay, that one's a bow. I'm going to take that off so I don't do it. So do it again, make it a bow so that they can open it up. And then, you know, we've got our little hearts and kisses on it. Cute. All right, so that is our last bag. Yeah, so that's bag number 4. Okay, so again, that was a reel when they were showing me the window sheet on that. So, so this is the pouch part of it. Again, like kind of thinking about how you can do some treat bags and some other gifts. So this is a little, it's almost like a little origami pouch. And you open it up and, you know, here's your, like, here's another one of those poppy things, but it's a heart one. And then you can put a little sentiment on the inside. Okay, let's make this. This is super easy. Start out with 2 strips of pattern paper that's 2-sided. So this is my Made with Love Designer Series paper. And this time it's cut at 4 by 12. We need 3 equal panels. So each of the square, so you can adjust the sizes, but I'm doing a 4-inch panel. So we're going to score it at 4 inches and 8 inches. So this is a 4 by 12. And I need to divide it into thirds. So that means I'm scoring it, every 4 inches. So I'll get my trimmer out. And I want to score at 8. Make sure I'm using the score. Go real light with this. You don't want to go back and forth too much because you don't want to tear the paper. We just want enough to have a score line on it. Yep, there we go. Might need to go press a little harder than what I did. There we go. Okay, let's do the other one. So starting with the 4 by 12 piece of double-sided paper, scoring at 8 inches and 4 inches. Okay, put the trimmer away. You could also use your Simply Scored, which I normally, do. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and determine which side we want to be facing up and fold it towards the center. So I want this pattern to be on the outside and I want to have this pattern. So I want to kind of have a busy pattern and a more solid or non-busy pattern. I mean, even though that's a busy pattern, it's more monochromatic. So that's going to be my outside. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and fold those in. And now what we're going to do in order to make this look here, kind of like a pinwheel, we are going to glue the center panels together. Okay, so we're going to glue the 4-inch and 4-inch together. Or I should say the center and the center together. Okay, so again, I'm using my liquid glue. And this is how the pouch goes together. Okay, so we'll get our 4 inches, the centers lined up here. Kind of fold it into C. Okay, that looks pretty good. Then go the other way too. Okay. All right, looks good. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold on all of these panels. We're going to fold the left corner in towards the center. And if it doesn't line up perfectly, don't worry about it. It's okay. So let's go ahead and do that on all of the all 4 sections. So upper left, fold it towards the center, kind of line up the edge here best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Turn upper left, bring it down to fold and to make a corner fold here, make a triangle fold. And the last one. So this is kind of making a pinwheel look. Fold it. Now we're going to come in and we're going to glue all of these flaps down. Okay. Again, I think liquid glue is pretty fast on this. You can just kind of do one of the top corners and glue it down. We're going to come back and get all of those anchored. So it's kind of a fun little pouch that you can use with your leftover 4x6 or 4x12 sections. Mix and match within your Designer Series paper pack. Again, kind of some nice ways of using up all of this paper that we tend to collect over time, so sometimes it's nice to have these 3D bags and pouches to use. Okay. Okay, so now if you want, like, where's our little tag that we made? Well, as you can see, now if you want to decorate the inside, you can put a to and from, you can put a little sentiment. Here I just kind of use that same, hugs and kisses on the inside. But what I like to do first is I like to go ahead and fold the pouch and then fill the pouch. And so how to do this, it's kind of like when you tuck in like a cardboard box, like the flaps of it. So and you'll see what I mean on that. So just start folding in the triangles. So it doesn't matter which way you start. Since we've been going from the left side, I'm just going to fold the left and then just follow around. And of course, as you get more folds over, it's not going to be perfect because you keep folding paper over paper. And then this is what I'm talking about. Like, how like when you go to want to tuck in a box, you say, okay, I need this to be tucked into here. And then just kind of keep working it. And then you've made your little pouch. It's so cute, and it just holds. It actually holds quite a bit. So I wanted to, you could put candy in there, something that would be, what do I say, not explosive, but like you could put a bunch of jelly beans or something in there and then get it all in the pouch, and then have your hugs and kisses on the bottom of it. But I just kind of wanted to show you that you can put a little something in there. Like I'm just going to kind of fill it up with a couple of nonsensical things, but you saw that this was like my little gift pouch here. But go ahead and put your goodies in after you put your sentiment layer on it, and then just start closing. And like I said, I like to do the pouch first, like to close it first. It kind of helps train the paper, but then you can see how you can kind of fill it up rather nicely. I love it. And then what I did for this one, for the ribbon, and you've seen me do it a couple of times now, so I don't have to do that again. But I just, before I fill it, I just, get a nice length of ribbon. This is probably a good 24 to 30 inches on it. Put the tear and tape down the center of it. And then when you go to fill up your goodies, I like to have the sentiment on the inside. And you know what? This is bugging me. If you want that to stay in a certain place, which is what, I did on most of these, like grab a little glue dot. I don't want this guy to move. Let's put that. Okay, now he's going to stay in place. So then fill your goodies. And, again, the more you kind of open and close your pouch, the more the paper has memory to it and it knows where it wants to go. Whoops, there we go. Get that all tucked in there. There we go. And just tie it up. Kind of make a little package out of it. Totally optional to do this ribbon. The reel or TikTok that I had seen did not have that on it. I think a little gift card in that would be really cute too. I think this would make a cute happy birthday card if you were hand delivering it to, at a party. Have your little gift card in there. But it kind of has a little pouch. Okay, let me turn the camera around. That's our goodies for today. Maybe. There we go. Well, I hope that you enjoyed seeing how to maybe use these treat pouches that Stampin' Up! Has a couple of different ways, so that they all don't have to look the same. You can use up your designer paper to really cut them down to size. If you cut it down, you've got a little bonus pouch here. And this. So window sheet, wraparound designer paper, and the pouch were all TikTok and Facebook Reels made you want to try it. And then these were just some other ideas that I had on my own. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If there's anything in here that you like, please do give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. And again, if you haven't already subscribed, I would really appreciate you doing so. Have a great day, everybody, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.